Hello friends, myself Arbab Khan, Assistant Professor and Head of Department of Geography, DK College, Dumbrao. Friends, today we are going to discuss the concept of neo-determinism. Uh, this particular lecture is part of your BA Part 3 Honors Syllabus, Paper 5th, Section A, Unit 2, Geographical Thought. And this particular lecture is very beneficial for those students who are going to opt this particular paper in their Part 3 honors. So friends, let us start the lecture on neo-determinism. So friends, this particular philosophy of neo-determinism was a attempt of reconciliation between the two extremes of possibilism and determinism. As we have discussed earlier in our previous lectures about the philosophy of determinism and philosophy of possibilism. So friends, both of these philosophies were very extreme in their essence. On the one hand, determinism uh, was not ready to give any major importance to a human being, whereas possibilism was not ready to give any space to nature. So, striking a balance between these two philosophies of determinism and possibilism, a new philosophy was developed and propounded by Griffith Taylor. So, friends, Griffith Taylor, he was the proponent and he was the first person who has given this philosophy of neo-determinism. Friends, this philosophy is also known as stop and go determinism. As in the word of Griffith Taylor, that the well-endowed part of the world means those parts of the world which are well endowed in amenities, whether it is natural amenities or resources or man-made resources, they offer a number of different possibilities for making a living. But there are some areas of the earth which is very much hot or very much cold, or some areas which is completely devoid of water, some areas there is plenty of water which are very wet, are not suitable for the not suitable for the conditions which can be conducive for the life. And if anyone wants to live there and he neglects these conditions, then it would be impossible for him to settle in those areas. So Griffith Taylor had said that some parts of the earth offer possibilities, like we have discussed in possibilism, and some part of the earth where climate play an important role, where climate has upper hand, there man must be adjust himself to the vagaries of climate. Friends, elaborating his philosophy of stop and go determinism, Taylor said that protagonists of possibilist theory instance the carrying of fertilizers to the Canadian prairies or the remarkable development of somewhat sterile northern Denmark as an example of human control which have determined the utilization of the regions concerned. I do not for a moment deny that man plays a very important part, but he does not take fertilizers to the barren grounds, nor would the Danes have developed their less attractive regions if they had been free to choose among the good lands of the world. They have merely pushed ahead in nature's plan for their terrain. Even when their example is followed in other similar parts of the world, it only indicates that man has advanced one more stage in his adjustment to the limits laid down by nature. So, man is not a free agent. The writer then is a determinist. He believes that the best economic program for a country to follow has, in large part, been determined by nature. And it is the geographer's duty to interpret this program. Man is able to accelerate, slow, or stop the progress of a country's development, but he should not, if he is wise, depart from the directions as indicated by the natural environment. He is like the traffic controller in the large city who alters the route but not the direction of the progress, and perhaps the phrase stop and go determinism expresses succinctly the writer's geographical philosophy. So, friend, Taylor has described uh, neo-determinism as stop and go determinism, and he has given the example of traffic controller or traffic police. So, what traffic police or traffic lights do? They sometimes stop the traffic, then allows the traffic to go, and sometimes they divert the traffic to other directions. So, Taylor has described that for the progress of any country, the environmental impact of that particular region must be taken care of. Without understanding the particular climatic conditions of that region, the progress cannot be made. And there are uh, certain possibilities also, but those possibilities can only be uh, uh, those possibilities can only be used when that particular nature is in uh, consonance with that particular possibility. So, it will be seen that nature has only in large part determined the program. Man, who plays an important part, determines the rest. Moreover, man only follows nature's program if he is wise. Presumably, he can act foolishly, which admits the possibilist contention that within broad limits set by environment, man can choose at the very least. Professor Taylor concedes him the choice between wise and foolish action. And this possibility of choice is also suggested by the name stop and go determinism, since traffic lights are not usually placed on one-way streets which have no interconnections. Uh, this particular debate has been continued in 1960s, 70s, 80s, and in this debate, another theory which was given by O.H.K. Spate proposed the middle ground between this determinism and possibilism came into being, and that was known as probabilism. And in his view, that although the physical environment does not uniquely determine human actions, it does nevertheless make some response more likely than others. Like human actions was represented as not as so much a matter of an all or nothing choice or compulsion, but a balance of probabilities. And this particular concept was much also supported by Vidal. So this aspect of neo-determinism, we can also say that it is a scientific determinism. And Taylor, he has made it clear that he was not an old-fashioned determinist who sought to make extreme statements about the effect of climate on man, but who never sought to put their statements to scientific validation of examination. So this is all about stop and go determinism or neo-determinism. Thanks.